Hey guys, Bitcoin has printed another new all-time high where we can see that Bitcoin is almost approaching $97,000. However, we can see all of these altcoins are completely in red. There are some altcoins that's trading somewhere near flat to positive. However, a lot of altcoins are still slaughtering. Now, all of these, the altcoins that are getting slaughtered, there are some setups that you guys need to keep on your radar so that you guys can maybe probably max out the best returns out of this market in this current situation. And in this video, I will be discussing about some altcoins and a lot of other altcoins, and I hope that covers altcoins that you guys wanted to analyze. Now, before that, let's look at the fear and greed index. When you look at the fear and greed index, it is still in extreme greed, but it is under 90. Anything above 90, we usually see a flush out inside the market. So we can expect market to flush out once we reach the levels above 90, because as of now, only Bitcoin is pumping and no other altcoin is pumping. So let's start with Bitcoin first and understand what is Bitcoin doing. So Bitcoin is almost on the verge of getting, or and it has crossed $97,000. So this is what Bitcoin is currently doing. I had this part drawn which did not follow. So let's just remove this and look at Bitcoin on a weekly time frame. On a weekly time frame, now that we don't have any resistance, Bitcoin is open, and when any price is open, it is basically called in a discovery mode. So Bitcoin is currently on a discovery mode, and in this discovery mode, you can see Bitcoin hitting $100,000 today, or as of today. Maybe we can see this happening tomorrow or day after as well, or maybe we directly fall to $70,000. But over here, I'll just try to call out price in my opinion what I expect. I am waiting for a talk to happen because in this market there is actually no point of shorting, and you shouldn't be shorting the market. You should just be following what the market is doing. Firstly, secondly, let's say what can you do with this price action? If you are holding Bitcoin in spot, do not sell that at all. Make sure that you are holding your Bitcoin in spot, and you can think about selling it at the peak of this bull run cycle, and the peak is probably going to be somewhere near the second quarter of 2025 or the third quarter. Well, this cannot be predicted as of now because it's way too far, but that is where you can think about selling your spot Bitcoin if you don't want to sell it now and lock in partials. From a technical perspective, my zones are still going to be the same, and I'll be watching out $73,000 because we have a fair value gap here, and the another zone is going to be $77,000. We have an inefficient fair value gap. Over here, we have a bullish fair value gap. Any retest of this zone, let's say if we move up from here, we come back down. Obviously, we are not going to fall flat. We are going to come down here, visit some old lows, pick up some momentum again, grab some liquidity, making a fair value gap here again, and then we are going to start falling back. You need to understand the difference between understanding price action and price behavior in this scenario, because you can only turn bearish once we see a closing like this. Post that, we retest a fair value gap and we start moving down. We do that, we do the same again, but it's not going to happen exactly at the top. A lot of people wait for this zone to be mitigated. It usually happens somewhere around here where we see an inefficiency. Price comes up here, revisits that, fills the inefficiency, and we see more, impulsive action. Whatever is the bias. If we are seeing impulsive action towards the upside right now, when we'll see a market structure shift, then we'll see a bearish bias. So that is how it usually goes. This is all about Bitcoin. You need to understand. As of now, don't short the market. Secondly, Bitcoin is making back to back highs. Just follow the trend, and if you're already positioned in longs or let's say spot, I would prefer spot and not leverage at all because market is going to be highly volatile. You can see Bitcoin is moving 3% a day. What else do you expect? You can easily expect Bitcoin by the time we open New York, or by the New York session open, we can see Bitcoin cruising $100,000 as well. So you need to be patient, let your spot winners go up, and if you are not positioned in Bitcoin, make sure that you are not positioning in Bitcoin right now. A lot of people in FOMA are going to position in Bitcoin. I would highly recommend you guys to wait for this zone to be filled, at least 77 to 78,000 dollars or 77 to 80,000 dollars, because if you accumulate Bitcoin right now, from a risk to reward perspective, your risk is quite high. It's going to be somewhere around 30%, and this does not make a good value trade. So make sure that you're sitting cash or sitting at the sidelines, at least when it comes to spot accumulation for Bitcoin. Now, another thing that I wanted to touch base upon is going to be Bitcoin dominance. A lot of people are going to be missing on this and not understanding why are altcoins dumping. Now, when you look at Bitcoin dominance, you need to understand one thing. Whenever Bitcoin dominance pumps, I have, mentioned the same thing over and over again in my previous videos. You need to understand one thing. Whenever you see Bitcoin dominance jumping, you only need to understand one thing, and that's it. Bitcoin is getting more and more liquidity, and when it comes to majors or other altcoins, liquidity is being sucked out of them, and that's the same liquidity is getting deployed in Bitcoin. This is the reason why Bitcoin dominance jumps, altcoin dumps. That's first. Now, another thing that you need to understand, when can we see an altcoin rally? Now, this is the question which I think everybody is desperately waiting for, because 90% of the retail is more or less positioned in altcoins. Portfolio construction is wrong. Bitcoin should have you if when it comes to your portfolio allocation should have been 30 to 40% in Bitcoin. When it comes to Ethereum, 20 to 30%. And the rest of that 30% is where you deploy money in different altcoins, meme coins, and other majors. However, when it comes to the Bitcoin dominance, we can see a rejection coming from this zone, because this was the last same point of interest where we saw a huge rejection from. And this is exactly what I was talking about. Do you see? There's one thing that I was talking about: when Bitcoin is going to fall, we'll see a market structure shift. We saw a market structure shift, we went up again, we started falling down, took out some more liquidity, and another impulsive move. We can see the same thing happening here. We come here again, we see an impulsive move towards the downside, we come back again, retrace a little, and fall down again. You need to understand price action. No matter whatever I analyze, you need to understand how is the price behaving. Once you understand price action and price behavior, you are surely going to be understanding the upcoming paths of any other price action chart, or Bitcoin or any other pair. So yeah, coming back to the same story, we are going to get rejected from this zone is what I'm assuming. If we don't get rejected from this zone, we are probably going to revisit this zone of 72%. Now, as long as Bitcoin dominance is bullish and up, we are going to see altcoins getting slaughtered, and that's for real. But there's another thing that you need to understand. When can we understand that altcoins are going to outperform? Another index to track is going to be ETH, and I've been talking about the same again. Now, ETH is nothing but Ethereum performing Bitcoin, or Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin is going to be the right word for that. You see Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin only when you see flows in Ethereum coming, and Bitcoin moving sideways. That's going to happen when we see Ethereum BTC coming down to this zone. This is going to be a very important zone and an important element when it comes to Ethereum pumping. So these two zones are where you can expect Ethereum to outperform or Ethereum to jump. Ethereum is going to jump, but Ethereum is not going to outperform BTC. What I mean by that is, on a 7-day percentage gain, you'll see Bitcoin pumping 20%, whereas Ethereum is only going to pump 8 to 10, because we want to see, or we want to wait for Ethereum or Ethereum BTC pair to outperform and more flows in Ethereum to come. So these two zones are going to be very important if you are interested in Ethereum. I personally hold a lot of Ethereum. You can probably look for the same as well. If you are interested in Ethereum, we can go to the chart and understand where can you think about investing in Ethereum. So let's get this a little big, and I'll try to explain what can you exactly expect out of Ethereum. On a daily chart, all you need to see is, so we have an OT or an optimal trade entry here. This entry can be very good, though this line is just not the entry, but this whole entry lies in this whole zone. So yes, you can consider 2700 to 2800 to be the zone. But what is Ethereum doing right now? Ethereum is trying to form a base as of now, is what I can clearly see. Now, this base needs to mature. We might consolidate for a week again, but that consolidation is going to be very necessary because we want Ethereum to pump. And in order for Ethereum to pump, you need a decent base and along with that, a good consolidation because these consolidations are usually choppy. And this is where max retail gets topped out when you see Ethereum doing something like this. Once retail is topped out, you'll see institutions moving the price up because they know when they have a lot of retail along with their buying, when they want to sell off they won't be able to sell off because their quantity is quite big, so they always want retailers to get off the track when they sell off their Ethereum holdings. Let's consider, since we are talking about Ethereum, I'll be talking about that. They'll want us to sell all of our Ethereum so that they can consume our sell orders. Once they have 90% of the stake in Ethereum in terms of the current buying power, you'll see Ethereum moving up rapidly because it's just the institutions who are holding it. When a retailer is going to buy this, they are not going to buy this when they once they see it at here. They'll be like, no, Ethereum will go down. I'll probably buy here. Once you see Ethereum crossing $4,000, that's where again a lot of FOMO buyers are going to come in. So work on your psychology and condition this as well. You need to buy when institutions, you don't know whether institutions are buying here or not, but you need to buy when a lot of market is in fear, a lot of people are, talking a lot of bad things about Ethereum. This is where you need to understand that Ethereum looks valuable to you, but technically you need to understand a lot of things as well. Now, let's say if Ethereum falls, we can probably see Ethereum coming back to this zone of 2700 to 2800. That's going to be the exact zone where you can think about accumulating Ethereum. If not, if you've already accumulated Ethereum, then you can easily hold this. Personally, I am having a target of $5,000 to $6,000 psychologically, but my psychology says we can probably go up more, or we can see Ethereum pumping to $10,000 as well. But when I talk about such higher targets, you'll probably have to play and weaponize your patience in between. So make sure you are waiting for that as well. Now let's head over to the altcoins, and this is going to be the most important part that you guys need to understand and watch out for. Now there are going to be a lot of altcoins that is related to Ethereum's ecosystem or Solana's ecosystem. Both of these coins are very bullish, and you need to understand that. So let's start with one thing, and that's going to be Ethereum is done. This is done. Now we are going to be talking about Ethereum's ecosystem. Now let's look at ARB. When I look at ARB, everything is quite clear for ARB. We were seeing ARB building bases. We had a huge imbalance here. So we saw an imbalance here. Building bases getting consolidated. Lot of liquidity grabs. This was the first one, second one, third one, and the fourth one. We usually saw these lows being respected completely. Now, the other thing what you need to understand is when can Ethereum shift the market structure? When can Arbitrum or ARB shift its market structure? Okay. Now, the biggest structure that ARB needs to shift or flip is going to be this zone of 0.83 cents. If you are already holding ARB from here, you can probably think about booking or locking in 50% partials here if you want to. If you don't want to do that, you can wait for ARB to go easily around $1.2, and that's going to be 100% from here. So make sure you are positioned in that way and you are holding ARB. If you've already holded this for 3 to 4 months, why not hold it for more 3 to 4 months, and you can easily see your portfolio growing by 100%. Now let's talk about holders that would like to accumulate ARB right now. From this current price action, the only zone that I'll be interested in this current price action is going to be this. First, let's say if we don't fall down this much in by these two zones, you're probably going to be looking out for this zone because we have a fair value gap here as well. Okay. Now understand this. This fair value gap is going to be filled maybe if we see a daily candle closing under this. Let's say if we close here, as long as we are bullish, we are fair enough. On a weekly candle closing, that's going to be, that's something that's going to matter more because the weekly candle closing gives you an important image and a reflection of what our bias is going to be for this week. Currently, we are, in a choppy zone. We need to flip this in order to turn bullish again, and this to flip the market structure bullish. We can probably visit this These two zones can be very conservative for you if you are looking to accumulate ARB, and I would highly recommend you guys to wait for that. If you are still having some FOMO, and let's say if you don't fall, then it is very important for you to understand the max allocation that you can have at the current price is going to be 20% only. Let's say if you are accumulating any other altcoin, just like this way, your average price is going to be superb, your entry price is going to be conservative. Whenever you see an parabolic rally coming in, you will be the first one to gain a lot of money even by trading altcoins. People don't make a lot of money in altcoins because when they see ARB moving like this, they'll buy here, it dumps here, they sell at 20% dump, they don't understand technicals, and then you see ARB making another new high. So you need to understand technicals and you need to understand and stop foaming. 40% can be done here, 30% can be done here. I'm not considering 49 or 50 cents. I don't think ARB might go there. So this is all about ARB, and ARB is going to be coming under Ethereum's ecosystem. So better mind that if Ethereum is going to pump parabolically, ARB and OP is going to be doing the same. Now, my second altcoin is going to be BOM. So BOM has a very good structure, and when you look at BOM right now, it is trading at an inefficient price action. We only saw wicks coming in and no candlesticks coming in. This was the third price action or the third time where we saw boom revisiting the same lows that it currently made and reacted from. The wicks are tested again, and this has a lot of liquidity. How can I tell that? By the amount of wicks that you can see. Every time price has visited this zone, we've seen a huge jump. This is the same time price has done the same. A lot of people must be waiting for exactly this zone, but it got triggered right from this. We can expect BOM to move up by 20 to 30%. I have a personal entry too. You can consult your financial advisor before taking an entry over here. But when I talk about the accumulation or the location, you don't have to wait for another these zones. You can probably accumulate 50% here for BOM. So this is all about BOM, and you can probably look out for BOM if you are interested in accumulating BOM. The third coin is going to be Ondu. Now you've already seen Mantra DAO or OM outperforming the RWA sector and pumping 150% in a week. In my opinion, I think Ondu can do something similar to of that sort. And if you see Ondu doing something similar to that, you need to stay positioned in Ondu. And the current price of Ondu, or I would highly recommend these two prices as well, or these two zones. This is going to be a zone. So whenever I say, oh, let's say if I've drawn 78 cents, you need to understand that 76 to 80 cents should be your zone and not this single line. A single line is never a zone. That's just going to be an important key level that you need to understand. Okay, these two zones can be another zones, but another zones that you need to watch out for. From a smart accumulation perspective, Ondu currently is also sitting at a great price. Anything under $1.99 or even the current price is still fair. You can think about accumulating Ondu for 30% allocation or 40% allocation here. Let's say if you do 40 here, 30, 30 here. Your average is going to be good, and we can easily see Ondu going up to 1.4 or let's say $1.5. That's almost a 50% jump. Invalidation is going to be under this zone. This is why I want you to understand making your entry conservative as much as you can. So my third coin is going to be Ondu. The fourth one is going to be OP. Now OP is basing out a lot, and this base is going to be very expansionary. Why? Because we are currently consolidating, and a lot of people are giving up hope on OP by this consolidation, because a retailer mindset is very simple. They either want this or they want this, and this is actually not how the market works. So you need to understand this is not how the market is going to work if you want or if you expect it to. The more the accumulation is happening, the bigger the base, the mature the base, the larger the expansion is going to be, and you can easily expect OP to go to somewhere around $3.4 and higher again once you see Ethereum pumping. So how can you accumulate and where can you accumulate OP? So when it comes to OP is already consolidating a lot. From an accumulation perspective, the only two areas that I'll be looking at is going to be, the first one can be this zone or the current price. So this whole zone can be a good area of 1.6 to 1.7, 30%. Another zone is going to be this that I'll be looking out for, 1.4. So let's say 1.45 to $1.5. And the last zone is going to be this whole area ranging from 1.1 to 1.3. These three zones are where you should be looking to accumulate OP, because once we see a market structured shift, OP is going to be turning bullish. Post that, we'll see OP filling the inefficiencies created here. Another time we'll take liquidity and start pumping again, and this is going to be repeating again and again until we reach $3.4. That's going to be 100% jump. So the risk to reward is very high, and I'm only looking for trades that carries a good risk to reward. Doesn't matter if the trade is bullish or not, but if a risk to reward is good, we have a decent momentum in that ecosystem, we can surely look to trade that. Now, another two trades that I'll be talking about is the last one, or the second last one is going to be Pyth. So I personally have a position in Pyth, and I'm still waiting for Pyth to only visit these two zones. My average price is 0.38 cents. If I want to accumulate or add on more size, these two zones, 32 to 34 cents. The second one is going to be 36 to 37 cents. These two ranges can be a very good range. You can think about accumulating Pyth, and then post that you can easily expect Pyth to go up to 50 cents. And once we flip this structure, you can expect Pyth to visit 71 cents as well. The risk or reward is good. You can expect Pyth to print you 90% once it revisits 71 cents. So you can think about accumulating Pyth. You're at the current price too, or from the range of 34 cents to 40 cents. The last coin that I'll be talking about, and I forgot to talk about, was JUP. Now, JUP is on my radar as well. The current price is very good to accumulate JUP. The second one is going to be this Fair Valley Gap. From a spot perspective, if you want to accumulate JUP, you can think about doing it at 1.07. The second one is going to be ranging from 195 cents to $1. Now, the last one is also an OTE of the 80 cents, and we can, if let's say Bitcoin revisits $70,000, you can easily see this coming here. So you need to stay positioned in such a way that you still have some fiat left, and you're always buying in parts and not all at once, is what you need to understand very clearly. These three zones can be an important zone. You already have it here, 80 cents. So let's say 80 to 82, 94 to 96, and this is going to be the last one, or the current price. So you can think about accumulating JUP here. Once you see Solana pumping a lot, you will see JUP following the same footprints of Solana. So this is it for today's update. I'll see you guys in the next video. In the meantime, you can let me know if you guys want me to analyze any other crypto. You can probably keep WIF on your radar as well. I forgot to mention this. It's currently sitting at a very good zone. You can think about accumulating WIF, maybe 30 to 40% here, and the other two over here. The zones are already marked. You can watch these zones out, and I'll see you guys in the next video.